Oh. Peace, everybody. Welcome once again to Changing Life on the Spectrum. I'm your host, Brother James.
And I'm Nicole.
And today we have our special guest returning back to the show, as we promised, to tell us about the business side of things that's going on with her. So we have Mrs. Nikki Stokes on. Round of applause. So let us start off for those who didn't see the first one, which we want to ask everybody, go see the first episode. You'll learn a lot from that one, as much as you're going to learn from this one, if not more. And Ms. Nikki, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your business?
Sure. So I am Nikki Stokes. I am the owner and lead designer at HGE Designs company. We are an apparel company specializing in knitwear, crochet, all things yarn. I love it. It brings me great joy. That's kind of like my personal thing that I was able to just hold on to for myself. And then I eventually branched out into making sensory products because the tactile aspects of it worked really well for my son Roman's sensory processing issues. I had no plans on becoming a business owner. I simply was crocheting because it made me happy and it kept me sane, and then it started paying for things. And so I would make stuff and then I would pay for stuff, and he would need stuff and I would pay for stuff. So I'm still very much in the growing process as far as a business. I tell people a lot of times that I probably built my business backwards. When you look at traditional business models, like I didn't have a business plan. I didn't know what a revenue stream was. Most of these terms I'm still learning as I go through like cohorts and mentorships and things like that. But I think it's, just because I love it and I'm good at it, I just kind of adapt and, craft all the things to do all the things. So yeah, that's HGE. Was there anything else specifically you wanted me to cover? Because I do a lot.
Well, we want to kind of get into, what your inspiration was
Okay.
to start this business, especially while having a child on the spectrum. And, we know what goes along with that is also limited time.
Right. So I think the biggest thing that I'm probably going to say over and over, I wasn't trying to start a business. I like, that was not a plan. That was completely, I always say it was by accident, but it was God engineered and designed that was what I was supposed to do. But I personally, I had a job. I didn't want a business. I didn't look at it like that at all. Literally, I was just making things that made me happy. I love colors. I'm an artist anyway, so I've always just been drawn to making things with my hands. And then as soon as I realized, hey, you got something, like this is going to help Roman, I kept doing it. So he definitely was the inspiration, and having limited time, like I can crochet in my sleep. So, you know what I mean? So I could do it anywhere. And one of the good things about working at the fire department, because I used to be a dispatcher for 14 years, was I would be up all night at work. And so literally I could crochet while I was at work. And so that's what I did. So a lot of times initially when I was making things, I would be there for 12 hours a day. I can whip out quite a few hats in 12 hours. So literally it just it fell into line with my existing life. So when I was home and I would be sitting on the couch, you know, watching TV, I could make stuff. So it fit what I was doing. I didn't have to go like outside and rent a space or, you know, set aside things. So I think that's another reason, you know, it was engineered and designed for me, because I could do it while I was doing all of the things. There were times I took overtime hours because I knew I would be there for 12 hours. So I'm like, technically I'm getting paid twice. And I would be at work and I would just crank out orders and make stuff. And I was like, one day these people are going to be irritated. Like, are you here to work or work? Oh, I'm here to do both. I would do both. Yeah. And so it literally was, my dad said to me, you know, people will buy those from you. And I was like, you think? And then, you know, I would be out wearing stuff and people would be like, hey, where'd you get that hat? Or where'd you get that bag? I've had people buy stuff off of me before.
Wow.
I've emptied out bags like, you want it, I'll sell it to you. And so, you know, that's when I was just like, okay, well, you have a thing here.
That's great.
So did you see it growing to where it is now? Was there any point that you was like, I know you said in the beginning you didn't actually start out to make a business, but once you started seeing it, hey, ching ching, ching ching, ching ching, did it start to roll in your mind? Did you start to have a perception of where you wanted it to go?
Nope.
Really?
I think that's why it's still very new to me, because again, until I want to say maybe about a year or two ago is when I really sat down and said, no, you have something. This isn't just, yes, it's the thing that you love. It's the thing that brings you joy, but you really can impact and help people. Mm. And I think when I looked at it from that point, I was like, okay, that's when the possibilities started kicking in. It was never, how can I make $1 million? How can I kick my feet up on a beach? As much as I do plan to do the thing, it literally was, this help Roman. It can help somebody else. And what do you have to implement so that it can not only help people here, that you can expand? And so that's when the wheels started turning. And I was like, okay, how are we going to make this blow up? How are we going to make it bigger than, you know, just your living room or whatever? Yeah.
Were there any trials that you had to endure in order to keep things moving in a positive direction? And, you know, once you saw that things were taking off?
People. People can stress you out when it comes to making and selling things.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So being an artist who is sensitive about the things that I make, mm-hmm. I love what I do. When you start selling things, you open yourself up to critiques, opinions, mm-hmm. all of these things that before it's just like, well, I made it because I wanted to make it. And so I definitely think the trials were managing people, you know, explaining to people that the mall is not open earlier than 9 a.m. So if the mall's not open, you shouldn't be calling or texting me about anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the mall closes at 9 p.m. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't want to text about your scarf. I really don't. I don't want to do that. And I think a lot of times when you have, number one, home-based businesses, and you make things by hand, people don't always give the level of credit and value and worth to the thing that you do the way that they do manufactured products or brand label products. Mm-hmm. So it was very difficult, you know, explaining to somebody, this hat that I just made, I made by hand. A machine didn't make it. I did every single stitch. One hat is probably over 500 crochet stitches, depending on the hat. I did that by hand. If you buy this hat, it's not going to be like anybody else's. You're not going to bump into somebody with the same colors. Like, unless you buy a black or white hat, that's probably the only way. But it's like custom. It's one of a kind. And so a lot of times people feel like because you're making it by hand, it's cheap, it's not worth that. You know, people will go in a store and spend hundreds of dollars just because they associate it with a name. But the thing that you picked up, it's 1,000 of them like that. They made it on a machine. It took 5 minutes. So just, you know, trying to be secure in a market that doesn't always value handmade products or, you know, home-based businesses. So I think, honestly, the biggest challenge has been finding that comfort level where I'm like, the price is the price.
Right.
That's the price. Yeah. And so that can be difficult because, you know, when I was working from a space of lack and need, there are people out there that I can tell you right now, you have masterpieces that you didn't pay anywhere near what you should have paid for it.
Right. Absolutely.
Hold on to them because they will never be that price again. Right. So I hope that answers the question, but I think those were the biggest trials, is just like being secure in, okay, this is what I made. This is how much it costs. And, you know, it's not for everybody. And I get that. I think that I have a great range of prices for the things that I make, but the trials were definitely people managing.
Yeah.
You can understand that.
Yeah. Well, in light of that, were there any coping mechanisms, or did you need to lean on your tribe to try to help you get through some of those trials with the people, like, you know, managing customer expectations, basically?
Definitely leaned on my tribe. I always talk about my sister, my best friend. She's my CPA. She's my money person. That having someone that has that level of expertise when it comes to numbers and things like that allowed me to be my creative self. So as much as I still learn about the money parts and the business aspects, having a professional who does that for a living is great. I want to be an artist. I have no desire to be a CPA. So it's like I learned the things that I need to learn, but having a professional that does that helps. You know, my other sister, she's great with marketing and social media and graphic designs. You know, I can lean in and say, hey, Cardi, can you help me with this flyer? Can you help me do this? So again, I can stay in my creative artist space and lean on the people around me that do whatever it is that they do. So I have like an amazing team that help. Like, I'm still a creator of one, but I have people that I can come in and help me do all of those things. Like when I'm vending or I'm doing events, I have a person, one of my really good friends I work with. He does, like, he can build me anything. Okay, I need this for this event, and he can build that. So definitely those are the people that allow me the space to just be the artist that I really want to be, which is good. Yeah.
Were there any other factors that you had to deal with that, let's say, our audience, you know, another autistic mom dealing with the autistic children, any other factors that came into play while you was trying, once you decided to make it a business, how did you begin to, let's say, balance everything out? Because I'm sure there's plenty of young entrepreneurs that are in these special circumstances and they still want to do it, but they just don't have a concept of how to make it happen.
I think if you can find a way to work it into your existing life. For me, a lot of times it was, you know, I had a job, but this was like my side. I always call it my direct deposit job. That's my direct deposit job. This is the other gig until it's the full-time job. So finding ways that you can incorporate doing this entrepreneurial thing with what you're already doing. If it's a way that you can make your kids a part of it. Roman's great with colors. Okay, sir, I need you to help me pick these colors out. Or if I'm making pom-poms, I need you to cut these things. So I think if there's a way that you can incorporate your family and your kids into the business, it's great because they love doing it. So I think it's finding a thing that you love, that you do regardless of whether you get paid or not, because then you'll be doing it anyway. And I know that that's why this worked for me, because I would be crocheting and knitting whether I was selling and posting up at events or not. So it really helped me understand the concept of, if you love what you do, it's never work.
Right.
And so even when people started making it work, you're not going to take this thing that I love and make it work. So guess what? I'm going to change how I operate. I will not be doing custom orders. You will be buying what I sell. And I had to do that for a while. Like, I just wouldn't accept it because it was nerve-wracking. It would give me a headache. And it got to the point where I didn't want to do things anymore. Like, when people say, hey, I want to get this made. If I really didn't want to do the project, I can recommend somebody to do that for you. But I want you to do it. I don't want to make that. And so there are a lot of people that will look at that like, well, but you're trying to make money. You're trying to make money. Money's not always like the end result. And that's just for me. Like, and I think that, I get it. And that's why I struggled in a lot of like the cohorts and things, because I love what I do and I need to keep loving what I do. And I think a lot of times people fail in that sense of, I just want to make money. I just want to make money. I just want to make money. But when you're burning yourself out and you're not loving what you're doing and it's more stress, raising an autistic child is stressful enough. Like, you don't want to keep adding stress on top of stress on top of stress. Right. So, you know what I mean? So finding a way that it's not work. And I think that's the key is, when it's an extra task, when it's an extra thing that you really don't want to do, it makes it harder to do. But, you find ways to do the things that you love to do. Like, if you love it enough, you'll find a way to do it. And so I think that's the key. Like, if you build it from a space of love, then it'll work. It'll weed its way. And I know that's probably not like a clear-cut answer, but
it makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, like on a good night, I'll get on a roll. It'll be like 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm still going. And I'm like, okay, you do need to go to sleep at some point. You know what I mean? But in that moment, it really makes me happy and I'm joyous and I'm creating. So yeah, definitely. I think if you can build it from a place of love, you'll figure it out. It'll work itself out.
I mean, I definitely 100% agree with you because of the fact that the more it comes from a place of love, like you said, it is not as much of a labor intensive thing. Mm-hmm. It's the thing of you're willing to give. And like you said, you can give to the point where you're like, wait a minute, what the heck? Oh, crap. And not even think about it. But I thank you for making the point that there are lines that have to be drawn. We're all going to figure that out, whether you are making a business just for a business or to suffice needs. There's a line because this world, coming from a capitalistic perspective, it does turn into money, but that's not what it was ever supposed to be. Because when the creator gave you a gift, you were supposed to use your gift, and your gift will suffice your life, your needs. But we have to, like you said, find that space and try to stay in it as much as possible. And then ask the creator to bring those whom you need. Like you said, you want to stay in a creative space, but you need a CPO.
Right.
You need a marketing team. Mm-hmm. You need somebody who can do, like you say, Roman, who can just cut, pick a color. Right. All of that is necessary.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, you need your tribe, but we all got to be on the same page. But I'm definitely glad that you brought that out, because I applaud our young people for wanting to be entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
But so many of them get caught up in the money aspect.
Right.
And then everything gets thrown off, because it might have started out as something that they love,
Mm-hmm.
but then it turned into a money machine. And now balance is all off. You're doing things for the wrong reasons. You're doing a lot of things you don't even want to do.
Yeah.
But somebody told you, well,
Mm-hmm.
sign this and you can make a quick million.
Right.
I'm just saying, you don't want money? I mean, I want money, but I want peace
Right.
while I'm making my money. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I mean, everybody else might not understand that.
I actually did a coaching session with Sam Novak from an organization called Loam. And it was one of the greatest things I've done, because what I had to realize was that even as a social innovator, my process is so very different from everybody else's,
Mm-hmm.
because I could not be money oriented if I try, as wild as that may seem, because in the end, money is not the motivator for me. It's helping people and changing people's lives. And I have the CPA that reminds me, in order for you to help and change the people's lives, you've got to make the money. Mm-hmm. But Sam was the person who helped me look at it like, okay, well, what is your motivator? Okay, I need to get X number of sensory kits so that I can give them away to these people that can't afford them. Okay, so then that's your motivator. How is that going to get these things done? And so I was so grateful for that, because like you said, with just people being money driven, I couldn't wrap my head around a revenue model and what that meant. and so having someone putting it into a language that I speak, because I always say this is heart work for me. When you put it in like heart work and heart language, it clicks for me and it makes sense and I understand it. And so that was so helpful for me, because I just, I always felt weird. Like people were just like, well, I'm probably never going to sell 1 million of anything, and I don't need to. Like, I don't need to do that. And so people were looking at me like, well, why not? I mean, if it happens, yeah, but that's not the motivator for me. Okay, I can help 1 million kids do X, Y, and Z. Okay, that's going to be a motivator for me, not just having $1 million. So yeah, it took a while to get to that point. But once I had those people that helped me, that spoke I always say my heart language, and put it in terms that I got it and I understood it, I was like, okay, yeah, this is a thing. We're going to figure this out.
Going along with that, did you take any or have any special training? Because just like what you just said, I would actually consider that special training. But was there any other special training that you took or had or came across or was given to you while building the business?
So I taught myself to crochet with Crocheting for Dummies. Literally. And I did elevation awards with Baltimore Core, which takes like social entrepreneurs and ideas and help them build out their projects. So that was, I think, about 6 months that I did with them. I also did a social innovation lab cohort with Johns Hopkins University. I've done like leadership training. I went to FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology in New York, and I took a crochet course. So I'm actually a certified master crochet instructor. And I actually taught myself to knit when Roman had to stay at Shepherd Pratt. He was gone for a month. And so I taught myself how to do that. I'm a certified Reiki practitioner. So I can infuse all of those lovely objects that you buy with fantastic healing energy.
Wonderful.
I'm trying to think of what else. I'm constantly learning. That's what I will tell people. I've been crocheting. How old is Roman? 18. So I've been crocheting for about 16 years. I've been knitting for almost 2. And so I will tell people, never stop learning. I still will go to knitting classes at the church on Wednesday nights because there are little old ladies that have been knitting and doing all of the things longer than I have been alive. And they will teach me all the tricks and all the little things. So definitely never stop learning. Never stop learning. I'm trying to think. Yeah, the cohorts that I did with Social Innovation Lab, because I say the thing a lot. Sometimes you need somebody to tell you the thing is a thing. And I say that, like when I built out Roman Sensory Room, I didn't realize it was a thing, right? I didn't realize like I was a social innovator or I was taking these ideas and helping the community. For me, I was a mom trying to help and save my son. And so being in those spaces and cohorts with people with 37 letters behind their names, people who, people who are the top of their field and everything that they do, for them to say things to me like, do not discredit your life experience. A lot of people are coming up with ideas hoping they work. Your idea works because you created it and you watched it work. And now you're helping it work with other people. So I definitely will say, life is an educator. You learn a lot with life. So yeah, I think that was one of the big things, is not discrediting the things that I just learned by trial and error and because I've been doing them for years. But pick up a book. I have a whole bookshelf full of crochet and knitting books, because I can always learn something new. So I'm constantly educating myself and learning new techniques. And I work with autistic adults. I'm in touch with autistic adults. So I can ask someone who experiences things and lives the life how it feels. I'm not guessing. I believe if you're going to help a community of people, you have to include the community of people. You can't just show up and say, yeah, well, I've got these great sensory tools for autistic people, and never ask their opinion, never ask them what they need. I go through life with Roman goggles on, so I know Roman. And even at 18, I still don't know everything about Roman, because some days I'm like, seriously, like you did that? But, just surrounding yourself with the people that experience and live that. So definitely, I think those are the things that I cherish and I hold on to the most, like being able to meet with autistic adults and say, tell me about this thing that I made. How can I make it better? Is it doing what it needs to do? How can you show me how to make it do the thing? So just, being open and not thinking everything.
Yeah. Well, let's go right along with what you just said. Tell us about your products, because you just said you asked how, what to need. So tell us what the end result was. Like, what are some of the products
so
or are making, so to speak?
Okay, so I'm so glad y'all can't see my couch because it's a mess right now. So this is the hat that I made that I'm working on. This is just a regular hat. But what I realized, for Roman and some other people, this is very sensory and tactile. You want to touch it. When these are on display, I watch grown people are like, and they do. And then they don't realize they're doing it. So a pom-pom is a great sensory tool. It helps with sensory processing. Anxiety is building up. One of my fantastic coworkers is saying is anxiety increases behaviors.
Right.
So this helps with anxiety. And so those are some of the objects that I put in sensory kits. So the sensory kits that I create have all types of fidgets, sunglasses for dealing with like sensitivity to light, noise canceling headphones. And so all of these things are not things that I physically make myself, but there are products that I hand make. So I do like lap pads, which are weighted. I have chain scarves, which just looks like a super cool scarf. You can get it as a super cool scarf, but if you want a weighted element to it, you can get it weighted. So it acts as deep pressure. Having a brain fart right now. So it's like deep pressure, almost like weighted vests, but it's a wearable weighted object. And so one of the things that I realize with Roman a lot of times is, he gets embarrassed. He doesn't want people staring at him. And so a lot of these products, they're soothing and they help with sensory issues, but looking at them, you wouldn't know that. You just think somebody's wearing a hot scarf and it's actually a weighted scarf, or it's a sweater that has certain stitches or bobbles on it, but those stitches and bobbles can act as fidgets, and it's on a sweater and you can rub your hand on it and nobody is looking at you like, oh, she's got sensory tools on. It's a really cool sweater. And so the sensory kits themselves, we did a giveaway with the Baltimore City Autism Waiver, with Baltimore City Public Schools, and the kids that were on the waiver, parents signed up and we just gave them away. And so eventually I want those tools to be, utilized by the fire department, police department, people responding to students for crisis. Schools can have them in their classrooms because they help with learning, things like that. These are all tools that occupational therapists use in their office and things like that, but just making them accessible to people in our community that aren't aware of them or just don't have access to some of them. You don't have to be autistic to have sensory processing disorder. Again, they help with anxiety. I get anxious when I'm speaking in public, so I have a little fidget that I keep in my pocket. Sometimes I get overwhelmed by all of the people, and when I'm doing resource fairs and stuff, like I'm talking to people constantly. And so, it's other parents telling me about, their experiences and trying to help them weed through that. So I'm constantly talking and it gets overwhelming. So, you can have them at work. If your job is stressful and you need to decompress, a sensory tool might save your job. It saved mine a many times. So, it's not, that's the focus. And that's where the idea came from because of my son. But the more research and the more work I've been doing, anybody can use it. It's a decompression tool. It helps anybody in a stressful situation, people with ADD, ADHD. Fidgets are great. I mean, everyone uses them. So it's just a way to have it, in a nice, easy little kit that people can have access to.
Okay, that sounds great. Is there any one particular product that is near and dear to you?
So I would say two, like the pom-poms, the different range of pom-poms, because that was Roman. That was our thing. That was something I could teach him how to do, and he loved to cut. So he would cut a lot of the pom-poms and stuff for me. And then also I stopped putting pom-poms on his hats because he would pull the strings out one by one.
Oh,
so by like midnight, it would be like a pile of string.
That is our son.
That's Nasir to a T.
Yeah.
Just like Roman. Mm-hmm.
So that one, and the sensory kits have inserts, and I'm sorry, I have one available. I should have had this before I sat down. Let me grab it. Okay, maybe we can edit that part out. Sorry. So the other part that is like super, super important to me is I worked with Jennifer White, who I always laugh because she's like my twin. We have the same birthday, and she also has an autistic son named Knox. And so she does like amazing art in the disabilities realm. She's an amazing woman altogether. So she did these little zines. And so I was able to work with her and Cameron, who runs the Rise Arts organization.
Yeah.
And so I was able to work with a group of neurodivergent teenagers and pay them to make these inserts for our sensory kids. And so one of the things that Jen created is called an Advocacy. And it's a little magazine that you can fill out for your children during school. And it talks about, it helps them self-advocate for themselves. And so it talks about the things that they love, their dislikes, their challenges, ways that they can help themselves, ways that their teachers can support them, notes, allergies, all of these things. And this is part of the sensory kit. And so you can make copies of this, you can fill it out. Jen was amazing and allowed me to make this part of my kit. And so, parents can take this and, beginning of the school year, give it out to all the teachers. This is the information about my child. This is what you need to know. And then also sensory tools help you advocate for yourself. They help you learn to self-regulate, which was so very important for Roman, because a lot of his behaviors, depending on where it happened, could be really, really dangerous for him. And so, helping people who respond differently to outside stimuli, things that things that are just parts of life, giving them a way to process their own anxiety and those things, to me is so empowering. And so to have, again, people in the community who are a part of the community who understand better than I could, even as a parent, what those spaces are like and what it's like dealing with sensory processing disorder and trying to explain that and not knowing how to explain that. So giving them a way to do that for themselves, it means everything. And so to know that I was able to pay these kids to do this thing and they did it and they loved it. And so they're being a part of the solution that helps them move in this space, and it helps inform other people to create, inclusive spaces. So yeah, this is the thing that I love. We did like a day at UB Blake Center where the kids meet for their art projects. We ordered pizza and they cranked out like all of these. They cut them, folded them, so this is love. This is heart work. They poured their heart and soul into this. Jen made these amazing designs. You can order them separately from her as well. They have like these amazing cool stickers that say like radical joy, autistic joy. So yeah, this is the other part of that.
We can place her information in the description.
Yes. Yeah.
So would you say that the self-advocacy tool that you were talking about would be like the must-have for families living with children on the spectrum?
I think if I was going to say like a must-have thing to get, I would say the sensory kit.
The kit.
Because
okay.
Yeah, because you can use it at school. You can put all the items in a bag and take them with you. And it's something in it for everybody. So it's a little bit of everything. So you're getting the physical, like tactile things that I make. You're getting, this tool kit itself and the zines. You're getting like the sunglasses, so there's a lot of variety in the things that you can pull from it. Ideally, I want to expand to do like subscription kits so that they will be themed kits. So, for the holidays and things like that. And as you know, a good sensory item get used. If it's good, it's going to get used up. So I think like if there was a thing like a family was looking for like a must-have thing, I think that would be the best bang for your buck because you're going to be able to use something in that. If it's more specific things, then I may look at like the scars and things like this. But if you're just trying to get, like if you've never used a fidget, never used sensory items, I think the sensory kit is your best bang for your buck, because you're going to find something in it that works.
Right. And I would think that even families with children like ours who are homeschooled could still also use the kit and the self-advocacy tool, because they may have time where they spend the night with a family member who may not be as familiar with all of their ins and outs, and or they could be going to a camp. They could be meeting a new provider for like OT or PT or speech therapy. So there's still, a place for something like that, even with homeschooling families. So
Yeah.
that's great. And I think you already touched a little bit on the future of your business. You're talking about, wanting to provide the kits as part of a subscription service. Is there anything else that you see moving forward in the future of your business that you would like to share?
I think definitely I want to go into spaces and build. I want to, I want to go to the BMAs and say, you guys need a sensory room. Let's build one. I want to go to Raven Stadium and say, you need a real sensory room. Let's build one. Schools. I think all schools should have sensory rooms. So, apple pie in the sky dream for business, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to, parents that are struggling with their kids at home, let's build a space. Let's build a space for your kids. And again, I think, you don't have to just have an autistic child to benefit from these spaces. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it. A sensory room at the Baltimore Museum of Art is not only for autistic children.
Right.
It could be an adult having a rough day that just needs to go decompress. And I think that's the beauty of it. I think that it enhances and changes people's lives. You're not just changing the space. And I think a lot of times when you tell people things like that, or you speak about it, instantly they're thinking of, we're investing in the space and we're going to make the space more beautiful. No, you're investing in people's lives, because now people have the opportunity to experience things that they may not be able to. I can tell you, I would have never taken Roman to the BMAs, like never. But having that space where, people know, okay, if I need to, it's available. I can do it. That will give people the courage to try new things. And I think ultimately I want to increase people's quality of life. And so these spaces and these things can help me do that. So I think, yeah, that's pie in the sky. Like, if money wasn't an issue, if somebody said, what you want to do? Right. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I think we should all allow ourselves, that space to have those ideas and dreams. If money was no object and time was no object, resources, what would be, the pinnacle or the best thing that you could do, or best way you could contribute or be of service to your community.
Well, and for me, I know you said like apple pie in the sky, your biggest dream. But to me, what you are talking about, we all need to come to the realization that this is real. The numbers say there's going to be a lot of autistic children in our future. So
right now, the number that we saw, and this is only based on like 8-year-olds that have IEPs with autism listed as the diagnosis, is like 13,000.
Right.
And in adults, it's like 100,000. And again, that's only diagnosed,
Right.
clearly written out.
Right.
You know, so it's Maryland alone is more than enough
And that's
people.
exactly why I'm saying you're what you are talking about, we must take out of the dream state. We have to make it real because of the fact that that's what the numbers say.
Yes.
We're going to be in the next 10 years, we're going to be looking at hundreds of thousands, if not millions, possibly, of autistic children flooding into the infrastructure. And we have to have an infrastructure ready for them, or it's going to be chaos for everybody, to be quite honest with you. And just to touch on one other thing, I'm so happy that you mentioned that you gave the children a chance to work and make money, because that was one of the things that came up with us a few years ago. I think it was you who told me that there was somebody in another state somewhere where they specifically were working with autistic younger people, like young adults, making jobs for them.
Yes.
Teaching and training and helping them to have a job to take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. Keep doing what you're doing, because that's what has to happen. We have to make a space for them. We're not going to be able to get around it. Mm-hmm. Even these Fortune 500 companies, you're going to have to come to us, because at a certain point, most of your employee field is going to have a lot of autistic children in it on different levels. Mm-hmm. So
I know one of the beautiful things I love about working at Pathfinders is we have autistic adults that work in our office. We have adults that come in and do data entry, like super precise, killer work. Like, know exactly what, you know what I mean? Like, brilliant. Right. And so I love that, because it opened my eyes to the possibilities for my own son. Right. I would have never thought of Roman having a job. Roman has jobs at school. Roman gets a paycheck. Roman sits down and balances out his paycheck and has a budget and goes to the store and buys his own things from the store. And so, I would have never imagined that was something that he could do. So, being at work and having autistic adults that come in and they love work, like don't even want to socialize with us. They're like, no, I'm here to work. I'm here to do what I want to do. You know what I mean? Completely focused. And, it's a beautiful thing to watch them thrive in that space and be capable and contributing members of their community. But like you said, we have to create those spaces.
Right. Yeah. And so we thank you for doing that. And we thank all others, especially those who may be watching, that are doing that. And that's something that MPFAT is definitely wanting to get and be a part of. Mm-hmm. Because that's the reality. We have 3.
Right.
And they're growing fast.
Yeah. And I think
is just
right. And I think the other part too is collaboration. Being able to work with these other women that are doing the work, and being able to say, hey, can we do a project together? And them being like, absolutely. I wish people would be more interested in collaborating, because no one has to be the one. Nobody has to be the one. It's more than enough services needed that we all can do the thing. But like art and fiber, that's my thing. Jen is amazing with like graphic designs and the work. She does beautiful work. You know what I mean? So to be able to pull from these women that have this expertise in these things, who do it because they love it first, it's so fulfilling. Like I think I came home and cried afterwards.
Well, just because it was the thing that MPFAT is built on. Yeah. The fact that I'm not sitting here thinking about, well, I gotta do it all myself. No. Right. No. We want to be a one-stop spot where people can come and whatever they're having a situation with, like this is our director of advocacy here. Boom, listen, boom, 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 boom. Go here, go there, call these people, call that people. You need some legal help? Call those people over there. And I'm generally one of the ones on Facebook. Anybody starts talking about, well, anybody know a doctor? Anybody know a barber? Go to Pathfinders. They have a database of all these people listed in it. Just go to Pathfinders. Because the bottom line is like you said, sis. There's a tribe that we have, an immediate tribe, but we got to look global as well. There's a huge tribe that we need and we have to implement because, like you said, no one of us can do it all. But if everybody did their niche, and then we all had a good enough ego that we could deal with one another, and I could be like, "Hey, Nikki, I need blah 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 blah."
Right.
I don't know what the heck I'm doing, so I'm gonna need you to kind of like guide me through the situation. Sure, I got you. Matter of fact, boom, hit the button, check the email.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I looked at the email and I think I'm gonna need some help on this one. I think, can you kind of guide me through it? Sure.
Right.
That's how we have to become, because like we just said, we have to make a future for our children. We can't leave it to the school. We can't leave it to the government. It has to be the parents because we're the ones with the actual experience. This ain't theory. We know exactly what's happening. Like, oh my God. We have to be advocates for each other and our children. But the bottom line is we have to pull this together because the children are going to grow into young adults.
Yeah.
And we got to ask ourselves the question, what's going to be there?
What's next? What's
going to be there for?
Right.
Did we make an infrastructure for them to be able to do something?
Right.
Because it's not necessarily going to be whether they want to or not. It's going to be, did we put something there that they could tangibly do?
Right.
That they could be like, okay, let me do this. Let me do this. Okay, it's done. And you looking at them like, what?
Right.
And we want to be especially mindful of opportunities for children who look like us,
Yeah.
Because our children tend to be underrepresented, unfortunately. Even today, still, there've been definitely been strides, but our children tend to be underrepresented in the autism community, unfortunately.
Underrepresented, mislabeled, adultified, all of the things. All of the things.
So their opportunities are even fewer and farther between than other communities that are on the spectrum. So
absolutely
agree.
But that's why we're doing what we're doing. That's why we wanted to expose the world to Mrs. Nikki Stokes and HGE Designs, and show the people once again that you could be a parent of an autistic child, but there's a whole lot of things that you can do while you're a parent of that autistic child. It's not the end of the world. Everything doesn't shut down. You can't do nothing. There's a lot of things that we can incorporate into our lives, even with our children. Because I'll be the first one to tell you, our children who are on the spectrum teach you a lot. And you better learn quick. It's not a long drawn out thing. If you really want to stay up and at some point get ahead, you're gonna definitely have to pay attention and keep moving. But they can bring the best out of you because they test you.
Yeah.
They test the very fibers of you, and you either man, woman up, or things fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
But that's your child. It's still going to be there. So,
or get creative.
yes.
You know, we had to put a combination lock on our refrigerator
and the cabinets. Yes,
Ooh,
because
you had to do combination.
Yeah, because our son was getting up at night and going downstairs and just having a ball with juice and snacks and I mean, and then he would leave the refrigerator open, which is not good.
We had the little zip tie thing. It's a lock situation with like the zip tie thing. We did because I got one more Roman had chopped everything. I mean, he had a fine dice on all of it too. Like at one point, I couldn't even be. I was like, "Whoa, who taught you how to dice potatoes like this?" Because it wasn't me.
Well, I mean, but it goes back to what you said. You know, they are very advanced in some areas. They may be low in others, but there's always something, or it could be 2, 3 areas that they just light years beyond you. Like Nasir taught himself how to get off of the page that I put him on to learn and go back to another page so he can watch Mickey Mouse, having me thinking he's doing his work. But he's sitting there watching Mickey Mouse until he and I'm like, what are you doing? Then I come around and how did you
He knows how to read the history, the internet history. So
listen, I deleted a whole YouTube history. Came back and every last thing that I had deleted was back. I said, "Oh,
wow.
All right." Okay.
But Miss Nikki, what do you think? You kind of already hit on it, but I'm going to ask you anyway, just in case it's something else. What else do we do? Meaning the autistic community. What else do we do to help you with your business and to help you get to those higher heights that you're striving for? What do you need from us?
I'm going to start with definitely money. Because that's so much of it. So the links and everything for sensory kits will be up on the website. Right now, sensory kits are $65 for each one. So that will be up. If it's an organization, if you want to make a donation, you can donate. Because again, I want to be able to, I don't want to turn anyone away that can't afford resources. And so that ultimately is the goal. So if you can afford to buy. If you would like to buy and donate for somebody else, that'll be an option as well. Just networking. If you know people that want to do the work, let me know. I'm more than willing to come into spaces and help build, speak to people. Sorry, my killer attack. Can you stop? Thank you. Just connecting me to the people that are doing the things that might need my help. Again, because I do have a business, but I work for an amazing organization that has tons of information. So I'm always, I wear a couple of different hats, but it all works together, which I'm super grateful for. So as much as I'm a resource center coordinator all the time, even when I'm selling hats and scarves and HGE, because as soon as somebody says, why do you do what you do? And the conversation starts, or, my child X, Y, and Z, I'm able to click back and forth and wear those hats at the same time. So I can dive into resource coordinator quick. Okay, call me on Monday. I'll send you this email with X, Y, and Z. Or, you know, if it's a sensory tool, okay, I got that part too. So definitely just connecting and you know, help me meet the people that need me.
Okay. Sounds very good to me.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I mean the cool thing is like I make cool stuff. So like if you want to buy a hat, scarves, like it's cool. It's gonna be one of a kind products that you love, and it's definitely made from love. So yeah, if you're looking for something good to support, you can't get no better than this. It's great.
I kind of hate to put you on the spot, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
I'm with it.
Would you mind showing the audience one of your products? Because the one that I love the most is I think you posted it on Instagram a while ago, but you had the picture of, I don't know if it was Biggie or somebody else, but there was a picture that you crocheted, and I was like, wait a minute, how does she get the face?
That picture right there.
That one, but it was another one because it was like a crochet jacket.
Oh, the one of Andre 3000 probably.
And I was like, wow, how do you do that with yarn? How do you make a face?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. The most recent one I did was I did a skirt with a picture of James Baldwin on it.
Oh wow.
That's probably my new favorite because I can actually wear it. I used to make stuff for everybody else, and then, you know, my village and my tribe was like, we need you to wear your own stuff.
Right.
You're the best advertiser.
Free marketing.
Right. You need to wear your own stuff. So I definitely have started making myself the things. That's probably some of the hesitation that I'm running into this winter. I'm like, oh, I like this sweater for myself. Like, one for me, one to sell. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing now is trying to make stuff I like. Because when I get into that space where I'm only going to make stuff I like, well, now you like all the stuff. So what's going to happen now? Yeah, I definitely love the pictures. But again, it's my tribe that pushes me because I had a couple people, they were like, I don't want a picture. I want to wear my pictures. So then I got to figure out, you know, how to do it. And somehow it all comes together. So, yeah.
I mean, like I said, I still get taken aback whenever I see them because I'm just like, my mind can't grasp. My mind can't grasp how you can make the image appear.
Yeah, the thing is, and I think this is where some other artists maybe aren't as open about the processes of things as I am. Like this, it's not a technique that I invented or anything like that. Artists have been doing it for decades, like needlepoint and cross stitching and things like that. Mm-hmm. I just think that I have my own style when I do it. Like I'm not the only person that's crocheting faces and pictures of people. Mm-hmm. There are tons of people that do it. I have my way of doing it. I think like even like the colors and the things that I pick, like there are plenty of people knitting sweaters and hats and things like that. I just think that the way that I put colors together or the style about it, I definitely think you can look at something and say, yeah, that's an HGE sweater. You know, and they're like, I'm making it by hand, so I can't make all the things. You know what I mean? Like, and again, that's why I wish, again, like artists, I would love to find another crochet artist that I could collaborate with to do bigger projects, because when you're doing it by hand, it's just you. Like you, right. No matter how good you are, you can't make all the things.
Right.
So, I would love to work with somebody else that we can make the things together. I'm looking to do it because it's just community is beautiful. Like I love building and making things with other people. So yeah, but yeah, like a lot of the techniques and things that I think because I'm a rule breaker. So like I'm the person that I don't want to follow the pattern. I want to do it the way that I want to do it. And then of course I get halfway through and I'm like, see, if you'd have followed the pattern, you would have known that this wouldn't work.
Absolutely.
But that's a part of the process. That's the trial and error. So where it's like, okay, this is how the stitch is supposed to look. I don't like that. I want to drop stitches. I want it to be distressed. I want it to look like this. So yeah, I think that's the thing. Like even with classic techniques that other people use, I just think I have my own spin on it, so that like when you see my work, it's my work.
Got you. Well, like I said, it makes a lot of sense to me, and it's always better when we have our own niche, where we can say that, yeah, that's my signature.
Yeah.
This is a HGE original because of this particular stitch or that particular stitch, or some, whatever the case may be. But to close out everything,
Mhm.
and then we have a little bit of business to take care of after you tell us this. What would be the main thing that you want the audience to walk away with from your business perspective, from how you're helping the autistic community? What would be the main thing that you want our audience to walk away with?
About me or what I do?
About what you do, since we're talking about business this time. What's the main thing you want them to walk away with, whether it be an understanding, an insight, or what have you, about business, even if you have an autistic child?
Possibilities.
Mm.
I think knowing that there are always possibilities, not giving up hope on anything. That for me has been the biggest motivator, because even in those tough days, like literally, and I think because you guys know me personally more than a lot of people that are looking at. I had those days. Like I was in my closet crying my eyes out. Like I ain't got nothing left. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I had nothing left. And so even in those moments, it's difficult. It's difficult to see your way out of it when you're in it.
Right.
And I think, sir, come on. Sorry, y'all, my killer attack dog. You know what I mean? Like it's so hard to see your way out of the storm when you're in the storm.
Right.
And I think that whether it's life, whether it's raising our children, whether it's starting a business, is if you can just imagine the possibility of it, you will be fine. And it's hard. It's not easy. And I look at my life now and where my business is and the things that I'm doing, according to some like business professionals, I still don't have the income stream and revenue streams that I should. But even if it's one student, one day at a time, one family, 1 week, it's all worth it. And so just possibilities and pacing yourself. I think that's it.
Wow, that's actually pretty deep, because like a lot of us, no, seriously, I've had my dad on more than one occasion say to me, well, I don't understand, you live a good life, you don't hurt people, this, that, the other. I don't understand Why would God allow this to happen to you? I don't understand. But I understand. You know, when something is given to you, there's something to be learned, and there's a triumph. That's why it's called McHill's Path for Autistic Triumph. We're going to triumph over this thing. And then our children, like Roman, will be role models for the children coming after them. So having the thought of possibilities and not letting yourself get, oh, woe is me, oh, what's going to happen, oh, Lord. Instead of being like, okay, we're going to have to deal with this anyway. So let's back up a little bit. Let's get a plan together. Call in the tribe. Got moms ready, aunties ready. All right, let's just keep moving. I mean, the only thing we can do as any parent is the best that we can do. That's it. You know, my mom said that because she's been an RN, actually she's retired, but she's been an RN for more than 2 decades. And she said that she tried to read the books on autism. She was like, it left her more confused. She was more confused after reading than she was before she read it. So she said, well, you know what? I'm going to leave it on you guys, but I'm going to follow through with what I can figure out. And my mom studies our children, trust and believe, and comes up with all kinds of ideas, plans. Let's do this. Well, let's try that. Blah, blah, blah. And nope, we're not going to let them get away with this. But grandma's house is the place of refuge. But don't think that grandma gonna play with you so much.
The thing I love, my grandmother used to always say, there's purpose in pain.
Yes.
Like you're not giving it for no reason. And so I look at my life and everything that I've been through, everything that, you know, Roman and I have endured and still are going through. There's a purpose behind all of it. Right. Even like when I don't know what the purpose is. And I understand there are certain things I might not ever know what the reason behind it was. But I have to remember that there is a purpose for it. So all of the things that I'm doing now, like the job that I have now, the art that I'm making now, why I picked up a crochet hook in the first place, all of those things happen for a reason. And I think that's always the key for me is it has a purpose, whether you see it, even if you don't ever know what it is, it had a reason. It was a cog in this wheel. It was a step in this journey. These things could not have taken place without this. And so that's what I always try to focus on. It's all of those things. And then, you know, sometimes I have to remember, even though Roman is like the inspiration and the motivation behind so much of what I do, there are going to be things that he may not get to take advantage of because I wasn't there yet. You know what I mean? But 8-year-old Roman didn't get what this 8-year-old is now getting. And so that it's like, Roman and I went through this so that this 8-year-old could have it. And so that's how I think a lot of times we have to think about it. Like, you know what? It's not moving fast enough. It's not moving fast enough, but we are shifting the trajectory for all these other kids, like you said, after our kids. Right. So Roman might not have had a sensory kit in school, but all these kids now do. So I look at that like, okay, well, if I didn't get it done for him, we gonna get it done for all these other ones after. So yeah, that keeps me going a lot of times because I get, you know, there are days where I'm like, I needed this for Roman. Like he's about to turn 19. He's not going to have this by the time he's 19. And you know what? That's okay. Because he's going to have something else. And he don't need that. Somebody else needs it. So yeah, that's always the thing that just, it keeps me going. Like if he don't get it, I'm going to make sure somebody else get it.
Thank you. Now to complete a little bit of business, just a bit, since we're talking about business, just want to mention that we would like everybody to go to www.completethat.org and donate what you can because I talked to Sister Nikki and I asked her, would she help in designing um, sensory rooms for the school? And this is something that we've actually been trying to do for the last couple of years, but then COVID hit. And it was like a done deal at that point. But of course, like Nikki just said, we need the money. We can't do nothing about the money. We can have all the ideas that we want, but we can't bring them into fruition without the money. So we need you all to donate as much as you can. I'm not asking anybody to break their bank or nothing like that. Just, hey, dollars add up. We just need a whole bunch of people to just give $1. And that could start at least one room at a time. And like I said, school is something that we have to make a zone for them. You can't get around it. We have to make a zone for them so that they can relax, they can calm down, they don't get burned out, and they can go back to class and learn like they need to learn. Also, Nicole also has something she wants to say as far as business is concerned.
Yes, I started a Facebook page called Homeschooling for Autism and Beyond. You can go to facebook.com/HSFAAB. Those are that's the acronym for it. And I provide just helpful information that I've found along the way homeschooling our children, and just sharing our journey, what we use with our children that's worked. Anytime I find other information that I can share for other parents to help them along their journey, it's there for them. I try to post at least something every week. And recently I posted my first product. It's free and it's available at Teachers Pay Teachers. It's a password tracker because, as we've found, there is no one size fits all online learning solution for our children. So that just means a lot more passwords to keep up with. So it's in an Excel spreadsheet, but you could also download it to use it through Google. So on Google Sheets, but it is fillable and it's free. It's available at Teachers Pay Teachers. You just want to search for Homeschooling for Autism and Beyond.
And also, we want to acknowledge our partner, House of Healing Light, that we offer for those on an autism journey. So you can learn kundalini Reiki, which Nikki said that she has learned and she's using, and it's beneficial to everyone. We also want to say that they have a Reiki Day, November 20th, coming up, where you register. It's only $10. You can get the Reiki healing from different practitioners. We ask all of them from around the world. And it's literally lasting a whole day of just receiving energy, healing energy for yourself and your families. So, does anybody else have anything? Anybody? Ms. Nikki, you got
Sorry, I
anything?
have to
Anything
leave
you want
because
to
my,
say?
my dog was having a concert over here.
Perfect timing, I'm sure.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And hopefully we'll be doing something with uh, Nikki in the very near future, especially with the sensory kits. We have to talk about that, see what we can do. Because I definitely know that that's something that we need. And also, as she said, it's not just for special needs children. It's something that all the children could use. Something in the kit can be used to help them to better themselves, better their situations, and get their sensory input under control.
I had a mom email me. She said she uses it more than her son does. I said, great.
Yes, for sure. I can definitely believe that. It's a very stressful world today.
Yes.
Today is
especially post-COVID.
Yeah, it's very difficult to navigate today's world, most definitely. So we'll get the links and post the links in the description box so everybody support Mrs. Nikki Stokes, HGE Designs. And with that, we'll say peace.
Peace.
As Roman would say, peace out. How he ends our calls. Peace out.
Peace, everybody. We thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. And we thank you for tuning in and giving us your time and energy for changing life on the spectrum. If you would like to leave us an email because there's something you want to see on the show or any information that you need or want to request, go to changinglifeonthespectrum@gmail.com and just drop us an email. And if you want to support the show, we ask you to support the nonprofit that brings you the show, which is McKeel's Path for Autistic Triumph, by going to www.mpfat.org and hitting that donate button so that we can continue to help our families dealing with autism, and we can continue to help them by changing life on the spectrum. Thank you.